Hey guys, what's going on? Today we're going to check out the Audeze MM-500, and you're probably asking yourself, what took him so long? Well, this is a very, very special headphone, and I wanted to do it justice. When an 11-time Grammy award-winning mixing engineer releases a pair of headphones together with one of the best manufacturers in the business, I pay attention. Now, I was at the release event at Larrabee Studios with Manny Marroquin and was able to talk to him about them. So this has been a collaboration going for almost 5 years between Manny and Audeze, going back and forth to create like a real mixing and production tool. And so I was super excited when they sent me a pair. So full disclosure, I did not pay for these headphones. I received them free of charge in exchange for a review. Audeze did not ask me to say anything specifically. They just sent them to me. I want to answer to you, my audience, producers, mixing engineers, mastering engineers, how suitable these headphones are. Are they really that special? My first impression was a wow. So now let's find out if it holds up. So the Audeze MM-500 are open back planar magnetic headphones. And that type of design has lower distortion than standard dynamic moving coil drivers, more resilient to extreme EQ adjustments, sound tighter, more controlled, better extension capabilities with less distortion for bass than dynamic drivers, and offer better instrument separation and distinction. So what you get is an amazing travel case that's really rock solid. You also get a carrying bag, and you get warranty card and all of that, an extra long 90 or 94-inch braided cable. This borrows really a lot of similarities with the LCD5, their $4,500 flagship. For example, these rods here on the side to lock in the position. It has a bit of a futuristic look. It shows you the Manny Marroquin name printed on the sides. They come with a 6.35 millimeter or quarter-inch cable, but on the headphones themselves, we have a 4.4 millimeter or balanced 3-pin XLR, which is a little bit unusual compared to traditional headphones, but it is a thing, believe me, in the audiophile world. And that gives you quite some confidence because they lock in really, really nicely. Compare this with the Neumanns at 160 ohm and the Sennheiser HD 600 or 650 at 300 ohms. These headphones, 18 ohms. Very, very easy to drive. In fact, I asked Manny Marroquin, what headphone amp do you use when you travel? He says, oh, nothing. I just plug straight into my laptop. And that's quite remarkable. So no DAC needed. The ear cups also are super well designed. They don't attract dirt and lint like my other headphones. They offer a really, really good seal, and that is critical, according to Audeze, to have a consistent sound. And it clamps down quite a bit. It presses on your ears, and in the beginning, after like 20-30 minutes, it was uncomfortable, even though the pads themselves and everything is so super comfortable. But you can stretch that out a little bit. Just put it on a soccer ball and it works for me. They are now super comfortable while still retaining the seal. Put it on something that's about the width of your head and let them sit there. Let them break in, put them there overnight. Next day you come back and it was perfect. So the MM-500 is still on the heavier side of things, coming in at around 500 grams. That's half a kilogram. That's because of a carbon fiber headband. The MM-500 uses metal. And instead of the resin cups of the LCD5, the MM-500s are metal all around, and that gives it that convincing, reassuring, professional feeling. But in my opinion, this is the high benchmark for build quality in a headphone. So before going into my own personal listening experience, let's look at the frequency response graph here. As you can see, there's the emphasis here on the 3 kilohertz, that vocal range that gives vocals some clarity. That is a little bit of a bump here that's above the dotted line, which is the Harman curve, that ideal curve. And we're a little bit below that curve when it comes to the region below 100 hertz. We are still representing all the frequencies, but just a little bit less of that. So we have a bit more clarity in that vocal range, and that gives it that precision that's needed. So they have gone, Audeze has gone for something relatively close to the Harman target, but these small deviations, they come actually from a collaboration with Manny Marroquin. And I did ask him, is when you're on the road, when you come back, does this translate? And he says, yes, when he comes back to Larrabee Studios, he can continue to work on what he's been working on and go back and forth. And that is the idea of a pair of headphones that is tuned for that specific purpose. All right. And before getting into my own sound examples, how have I been listening to the MM500s? Well, I don't have the SPL Phonitor XE, which is a great amp for $2,500 and has a crossfeed feature, which I'm actually doing via a software when I need it. But we'll get to that in a second. So I've been using RME Babyface Pro FS that works very well, has a high impedance and a low impedance headphone output, and the MM500s are 18 ohms, so that works out perfectly. And then also a topping dedicated headphone amp, DX3 Pro, works very well. You can hear a difference. It just has more power. And then last but not least, MacBook Pro. The silicone models have amazing headphone amps. Check those out. Then there's D-Sonic by Real Phones. Not everybody's cup of tea, but it's an EQ correction curve for pretty much any headphone model you can find. And there's an MM500 in there now. And also a room simulation software. So the EQ correction would basically take out that 3K bump a little bit, but then there's also the room simulation aspect, what gives me that cross-feed feature. So left and right are not such hard pans. And a subwoofer boost that lifts that sub 60 hertz frequency and gives it that nice bottom without getting muddy. This software does that extremely well. And so you really feel like you're in a room with mains. Highly recommend it. How did I experience the MM500? Let's take a look. Let me start with two tracks where the experience is really lifelike. One is Fool for You by Yuna's 2022 track from her album Y4. That wobble, that analog wobble that's going on, the bass, the low end, and the whole vibe comes out like out of big speakers. And similar to that, Madison Cunningham's Pin It Down, the guitar having that grunt coming from the right channel, absolutely fantastic. The voice is absolutely clear. You can hear every instrument separated. It's like you're sitting in with them. Hold Me Closer by Elton John. It immediately bugged me, the de-esser, that closer, all these S's where it's so squished that it jumped out. And that's what a good mixing headphone should do. It should point out the flaws. Everything becomes super transparent. Great track, by the way. Hot in it, as this lifelike quality, the bass, the kick, everything is super clear, even though this is a loud, banging, intense track that's leaning forward. Absolutely gorgeous. Makes you want to move. It makes you want to engage with the music. It's just best of both worlds. You enjoy music, but you're also in there as an engineer, being able to dissect things. By the way, I'm listening on Amazon HD and uncompressed, whatever their highest codec is, that's what I get. Wait a Minute by Willow, that high-end glare that's almost annoying and starting to sound brittle and thin. Yes, it's there. That's that pop shine where it's been overdone and it becomes apparent right away. And I've tested this on other systems. Yep, that's what it is. But the emotion of the track and the way of her singing, the microphone it's been recorded with, her just delivering it, that has just so much intensity and presence. So that's one of my favorite tracks at the moment. The Foo Fighters, Times Like These, it's all about the guitars. They don't lose the impact. It doesn't get brittle or thin, which can easily happen with that track, without, while still maintaining this coherent force of a bit of a wallish sound. But yet you can still differentiate what each instrument is doing. High on Love, wonderful track, the warmth that's coming out from it, whether with D-Sonic correction or straight out of the headphones. It just makes you, it just is super smooth. Everybody wants to rule the world. Scary pockets, again, small piece arrangement. You can hear every single instrument very well. Gun barrel, Hans Zimmer, that is that, James Bond theme is in there as well. Again, all these instruments. I think it's a headphone that works very, very well for cinematic and film music. Magnetar, the intensity of the kick, Mark Lettieri's baritone guitar, and that amazing bass player all working in unison. It has the impact. It has that impact, but at the same time, you're also getting that definition where you can pick out each instrument. Blows me away. Yellow lead better. You can feel each guitar string in there. If there would be one string that you wanted to change, it would change one string in there. You would hear that on those headphones. And that is that 3K definition that this headphone has. Vocals, guitar come out very, very clean. But what about mixing music or just editing or mastering? We're not here to enjoy music and go, oh, what a nice pair of headphones. We're here to really go into the details and hear them as hopefully as accurately as possible and making the right decisions, like adjusting attack times on the compressor. Things like that for me feel more natural and make me less overthink with the MM-500. A compressor here, setting the sidechain high-pass filter, picking which one, also dealing with limiters, making sure there's not too much distortion going on, setting the right levels, delays, reverbs, EQ settings where like a dB or two changes become, they can be easily heard. And I really found myself soloing tracks almost only just to check for noise and weird artifacts. They make me work in a more focused way, I would say. Becomes a bit more natural. All the changes I make become pretty intuitive. So in that sense, I think the MM-500 nails it, and that's what they're here for. It is really how well you know your headphones. We know that Glenn Schick is a mastering engineer who works with headphones only. He uses Audeze as well. Audeze have been in the music production community also for some time with the LCD-X and then the LCD-4. Now for sure the MM-500. And then there's Andrew Scheps. Andrew Scheps, sort of like the Gandalf of audio, and he says, well, if monitor speakers are so darn good, how come every studio has at least 2 or 3 pairs of them if they are so good in the first place? And I found that a pretty good convincing argument. Headphones traditionally have not been in those bigger studios because there's more people in a room, and therefore maybe have that stigma of not being so professional. The point being, people spending all this money to getting their little rooms adjusted, chasing that target of a perfect listening environment, which often is very hard to do. Attics, basements, converted apartments, and still sometimes it is not ideal. So are we chasing a moving target? And wouldn't it be easier to just use really, really good headphones with a really, really good headphone amp? Well, I think it's a personal decision because there are more things going into it, but it's certainly worth a thought. And look, headphones have been very, very popular ever since the Sony Walkman replaced boomboxes in the streets of New York. Oh wait, actually, then there was this guy. Then came the iPod and portable music libraries. Well, and now we have things that are waterproof, support spatial audio, and what else not. So I don't think they're going to go away. Headphones have been around for a long, long time with consumers now. Even now, sometimes live shows are being done with Wi-Fi headphones to avoid noise complaints or expensive PA systems, and people really enjoy it. Like IMX here on a rooftop in LA. What Audeze has done here, they said, look, let's team up with Manny Marroquin, 11-time Grammy winner. Let's go back and forth. Let's take 2 years, 3 years. With the pandemic, it took them 5 years to fine-tune these headphones. So did you have a mixing engineer saying, yes, what I'm hearing here translates to all my expensive gear? They are not meant to be 100% correct. They are meant to be so that you can work well, that supports the workflow. They help you a little bit in the mid-range. They make sure things don't get too muddy and in the low end, and they also make sure things don't get too glary, too harsh, too quickly. Yet everything, and that's the planar technology, is super separated, responds well to any adjustments. And that concludes my review. They have been on my desk for quite a while. Headphones that I trust. Even walking into a nice studio, they would be with me in the big carrying box. It's something I can trust, and they translate to my ears. Please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think of the Audeze MM-500 headphones. If you had a chance to test them out, if you're planning on trying them out. Thanks for watching this video. Massive Beats out.